Hi, welcome to the PlannerSpeechie. Today I'm going to be planning for the week of June 23rd to 29, 2025 with this Jessica Hart's Iconic Kit. This is a format that I haven't used in a really long time, but I was really excited to get this kit. It was in a mix of random ultimate size kits that she offered back when she was doing a sale, and this was not something I picked. It was just something that was gifted to me, and well, I paid for it, but I really love the artwork in this, especially the different building shots. I'm pretty sure that that one on the top is in the West Village, and then there's another one on another page. That one looks like Park Slope to me. So it's kind of cool to see neighborhoods I recognize represented there. But this format is very, very different. It's not really meant for memory keeping. I think it's more for actual planning with flags and to-do headers and things like that. So this was going to be interesting and different. I did have these checklists that I decided I was going to use for this week and just putting in the different tasks that I had to do. Um, so I decided to do that, and then I had those four header sheets and some functionals with designs, and then of course the black and white double wide washi for the bottom. So that is the full kit. That is what her kit formats look like right now. Um, and so I thought this would be a good time to use this since I was in New York for this week. I also have these like matte rose gold icons from Scribble Prints Co. These came in like a foiled freebie that I got, and I also had some overlays as well. Oh, that's my baby. That's Eloise. Isn't she beautiful? She's the best. Um, I decided to pull in these pink Diamond Planner Co. underlays. They're also in that rose gold. Um, and then I have some stickers from Scribble Prints Co. that were left over from a different rose gold um, bundle that I had used. So I'm just kind of mixing and matching all these different shops together for this week, and I think it's going to come out looking really, really nice. You can see the close-up of those. You got some icons, a couple of leftover scripts, which I don't think I really used, and then I had one leftover kind of rosy gold thing. Then I had some date dots that I thought would look really good. So all in all, I'm just going to put all of this together. I'm going to speed things up and come back in well, I'm doing the voiceover now, but I'm doing the day by day live, so you're going to see that shortly. But yeah, so this was really different for me to put together because I have not used this format in a very, very long time. I really love photography art kits, especially because a lot of clip art kits that are being sold as digital shops are now using like AI technology, which I'm not crazy about. I, of course, love the clip art kits that I do get from Kitness Jess and Clip Art Kits and um, Lavi and Lovey Arts, I believe is her name. So there's a lot of great ones, but I do love a good photography kit, and I feel like I don't really get the opportunity to use that many of them anymore. So it was kind of fun to be able to use them like this. Um, so I decided to start with the black all the way on the end and then kind of go backwards with my planning. So the check boxes also have a running horizontal print that I wanted to capture in my planner. So that's why I decided to put them all in the center, and then I just varied putting the photography parts either in the top row or the very bottom row. Um, but this was a really fun week for me. This was my first full week in New York. We were driving from North Carolina to our family home in Brooklyn. My husband's family lives in one part of Brooklyn, and then my parents live in a different part of Brooklyn. So it's a great way for us to visit and not spend a ton of money, but get to see our families. And we actually drove instead of flying this time because we were going to be clearing out an apartment that we used to live in before we got married. And then the first sort of 8 months that we were married, because my in-laws are going to be renting it out. So we needed the car to take things back with us. And it was also easier. There's a lot of weird stuff going on right now with airports in New York. So it made more sense for us to drive. But so anyway, we definitely uh, had to plan that out very quickly. So we drove for 2 days, stopping over in Virginia for a day and then for an evening. And then we got to New York, and I got to do so many fun things to see friends and family. Now, I wasn't in New York for as long as we could have been. We actually had to cut our trip short because I had to go back for some medical procedures that were very timely and they couldn't wait. So, um, we weren't able to stay in New York as long as I wanted to, which meant there were a lot of people that I didn't get to spend time with or see. So that was kind of a bummer, but I tried to see as many people as I could while also balancing family obligations. And hopefully, we can make another trip back in the fall, and then possibly again, even for the holidays. So, anyway, the sidebar I set up a little differently this week because I didn't have as many full boxes. So I ended up using a weekly to sort of match in the same spot that I used all the other checklists. And then I had like a smaller weekly tracker for that. My goal was ultimately to fill out those Monday through Friday or Sunday, the weekly tracker with a step count because I did so much walking. I was really proud of myself, and that was honestly really cool. I've forgotten how much New Yorkers walk everywhere and how I've gotten so complacent with driving my car everywhere. So it was great to get back into the swing of that. And there were days when I was doing 12,000 steps, and I kind of miss it. Like that was a really great feeling. So you'll see me add a couple of these New York icons up at the top, and I added a bunch more off camera later just because I was in the mood to put them on, and I moved that back, I think, somewhere else. But anyway, this was kind of fun to put all of these together. That June script is from Carly Plans, and I think it's her scripty font. I think it's font choice 5, I want to say. Um, but yeah, so I had a couple of headers left over. I didn't have a ton. So I just used the bows for the top, and then I used whatever leftover confetti headers I had for the remainder. Um, and there are a couple of headers that don't have um, the foil overlay on top, and that would really annoy some people, but it didn't annoy me. And honestly, I just wanted to use my materials, think it's important. So anyway, in just a second, I'm going to turn it over to a day by day. Oh, that's what I did. I took an extra overlay box and I put them on top. So I did have headers for everybody. Nice. Anyway, I love when I can be crafty and creative there. So let's get into the day by day, and I hope you guys are having a really good week. Hi there. So really quick, I just wanted to show you the full spread because I added some things off camera. So I think this came out really cute, and I added a lot of the New York icons up at the top. This is the second half of the week. And yeah, so now I think we're ready to get into the day by day and just go over everything. Obviously, this is a little different because I'm working in a completely different format, but I have my trusty bullet journal here, and I'm just going to refer to that as I go. So, Monday, June 23rd, I woke up early. I finished packing. I packed food, snacks, gifts. So, I'm just going to write that I packed. I cleaned the kitchen just because we were going to have a cat sitter doing all of those things. So I'm just going to check those off. I did take a shower, and I have a little axolotl just to mark that. Super cute little little creature, so cute. I did do a bunch of errands, so this is something I am going to put down here. So I actually did a few errands. I went to the library, CVS, and Target, but I'm just marking library. And that script is from Carly Plans, and then this is from Once More with Love. I had to return some library books that were going to be due while I was in New York, so I needed to take care of that. The next thing I'll mark is that I did have a therapy appointment, and that's another Once More with Love sticker. And then this script is from Carly Plans. So the next thing we did was we went for a drive. And my husband and I took turns driving. We had lots of driving to do, and it was kind of exhausting, but I'm glad we did it. Here, I'm going to put that over there because it's so cute. And then we checked into our hotel. And we had Mexican food. Oh no, we had Five Guys. So this sticker is from Carly Plans. It's so sweet. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. There was a Five Guys walking distance from our hotel. I haven't had Five Guys in a really long time. It was tasty. I was surprised. And then we got back to our hotel and it was rainy. It's very rainy. All right, on to Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, I slept really, really poorly. I think I slept probably like some of the worst sleep I've gotten in a very, very, very long time. I don't know if it was I was snoring, so my husband kept kind of kicking me, which he's supposed to do. This is an agreement we have. But I just had a lot of anxiety and it was not good. So we did have breakfast at the hotel. It was one of those like continental breakfasts, so very convenient. And then we made the rest of the trip to Brooklyn. And I don't have another driving sticker because I'm going to use it to mark something else, but we did listen to some audiobooks and I'm just trying to think of like a good way to mark this. Oh, one thing I forgot to mark, we did go to Wawa because there was a Wawa nearby and I really wanted iced coffee. The next thing I'll mark is that we ended up having lunch at Huntington Diner. So I have this really cute sticker from Scribble Prints Co. And it's kind of like a diner truck stop, but we got there and all of a sudden the place filled up and we were like, what's going on? Turns out there was a power outage in the neighborhood. And so they were trying to go someplace that was air conditioned and it happened to be this diner. So that was kind of interesting to see. Eventually we did get all the way to Brooklyn and we were staying with my in-laws. So I have this sweet Ava's paper sticker to mark that we did that. And then that was really sweet. And I'm just glad we got to do all of that. So I did listen to My Friends, which is an audiobook by Frederick Bachman. Unfortunately, I had to return this before I was able to finish it. And we did get gas as well. And I actually have, let's see, I used to have a like getting gas script. or sticker, and I'm just not sure what I did with it. I thought it was in adulting. This is my like adulting thing, but I don't see it here. Let me see. Is there one? Yeah, I don't see it. Maybe it's a places shopping situation. Looks like I have to redo my sticker collection again. Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's in travel. Let me look there. Because I do have, yeah, here we go. Okay, oh, these are so cute. And they're Jessica Hearts. That's Stupid Plan Co. Yes. I knew I had a bunch of these. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use this little gas station sticker to mark that. And yeah, then we got to Brooklyn. So, wow, I totally forgot that I had that section. Interesting. Okay, moving on to Wednesday. So Wednesday was our first full day in New York. I did take a shower and it was super hot. I mean, this was a week of a heat wave. I almost used the heat wave kit this week because it was just so hot, pretty miserable. I did have breakfast with my in-laws, which was really nice. And then I went to, let's see, I took the train to see my parents. And we had decided that we were going to go to the movies. So I bought movie tickets for us in advance. We went to see The Phoenician Scheme. So after I reunited with my parents, which was super sweet, we went to Alamo Drafthouse in Brooklyn and saw The Phoenician Scheme, which is such a strange movie, but if you love Wes Anderson movies, you'll understand. It was just great. They also had props from the movie in this Alamo Drafthouse, which was very, very cool. The next thing I'll mark is that we went to McNally Jackson, which is also inside the same mall, and I bought a cookbook called Your Pasta Sucks by Matteo Lane because he's a comedian that I really love, and I had checked out this book on my Kindle, and I was reading it, and I was like, you know what, this is a cookbook I want to own, and I'm actually going to be making recipes for it today, so I'm very excited that I have it. And then the last thing that I will mark is that we had dinner with my in-laws. And that icon is from Carly Plans. This icon is from Stick with the Plan Co. And this is from, what's it called? Once More with Love. So I'm actually going to have to circle back. This was medication. And I did take them every single day. This I want to fill out with the steps that I did because I was really active. Not so much Monday and Tuesday because we were doing a lot of driving, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I had Wednesday through Sunday, I had a very impressive step count. And so I wanted to make sure that I had that in. But this is the first half of the week. All right. And I'm just going to slip that into my ring planner. Moving on to Thursday. Okay, Thursday was the 26th. So the first thing I will mark is that I showered. And I had breakfast with my in-laws. And then I took the train to see my parents. And I played Scrabble with my dad, so I'm just going to use very simple icons for this. So we have this cute little heart. I wish I had Scrabble icons. So if anyone is watching, I would love for someone to make Scrabble icons. Carly Plans, if you're watching this, you're probably not, but if you are, I would love that. We also went to the library, and then I did change my clothes and took the train to Times Square, where my husband and I saw the play Glengarry Glen Ross. I got tickets for us to see it, and it had Bob Odenkirk, Kieran Culkin, and Bill Burr, his favorite comedian. So that was really special, and I'm really, really glad that we got to do that. The next thing I'll mark is that my in-laws picked us up. So they actually drove my husband in from Brooklyn. I was coming from a different part of Brooklyn, so it took them 2 hours to get into the city, and then they basically circled for 90 minutes, and then they picked us up again. And then we had street tacos for dinner. And this was really, really good. It was like a street food truck that's open till 2 a.m., but they had a fancy, what's it called? Like a screen on the side of their truck. And I was very impressed. And yeah, so it was pretty special. Okay. So then on Friday, I did a lot of shopping. First thing I'll mark is that I showered. I'm like running out of these already. So I took a shower, which like was basically pointless because as soon as I got on the train platform, I would start to sweat and I basically needed another shower immediately. So, oh well. I did have breakfast with in-laws. And both of my in-laws were not working this week, which was really, really nice. So I actually got to spend time with them and see them. I did do a lot of shopping in Brooklyn, and I'm just going to use, I will use this little shopping sticker to mark that I went out. And I have a shopping script from my foil bundle. So I went to Barnes & Noble. I went to Sahadi's and I went to Damascus. Both of these other places are delicious stores in Brooklyn that sell Middle Eastern cuisine, and they are the best. And I've been shopping there since I was a little girl. So it was like just such a treat to be there. And then in addition to that, I got bagels from Shelsky's across the street, and I brought them home to my parents. And so we had a delicious little like brunch situation. So I sort of had two breakfasts. I had bagels with my mom and dad. We watched an SNL documentary, which they loved. And I have a little TV icon to mark that. And then I took the train back to Brooklyn and met with my husband, and we drove to my friend's house for dinner. And it was a beautiful Shabbat dinner. And I just realized I forgot to mark something here, so I'm going to So we spent time with my friends for Shabbat. We were able to park our car, which was really nice. I'm trying to figure out what I intended to do to mark that, and I can't think right now. But we did hang out. I did hang out with them, and we stayed up late. So I'm just going to put that. Okay, so that was Friday. Saturday morning, we got up and had breakfast. I actually ended up sleeping on the couch because my husband was not sleeping well. So I'm just going to mark that. And then the next thing that I did, I did pull. I was using the wrong stickers. Hold on. I'm going to pull this one up. You know what? I can do both. I'll just layer them on top of each other, maybe. I don't know. That looks a little weird, but that's okay. So I hung out with my friend Karen. We took a walk in the park. And that was really nice. We just got to chill and talk to each other. And then we drove back to Brooklyn and we ordered L&B Spumoni Gardens, which if you are not familiar with, that's kind of messy, but if you are not familiar with New York pizza, L&B Spumoni Gardens has been around for a very, very long time. Their big seller is Spumoni, obviously, Spumoni ice cream, but then also, what's it called? Also, Sicilian slices, and it's some of the best pizza in New York City, period. End of sentence. Okay, so the next morning, I had to fill my pillbox. And the plan was to spend time with my parents' friends that we don't get to see very much. So my husband and I took a cab to Brooklyn, and then we drove to Carmel. The next thing I'll mark is that we went to this grocery store called the Chico's, which is one of my mom's favorite grocery store chains. And we got some snacks and things to bring with us. I did bring wine from the Biltmore that my parents had purchased the last time they were in Charlotte or Asheville, and we brought it with us when we drove up to New York. So that was really, really nice. And then I'm just going to use this Sweet Avis paper to mark that we spent time with my parents' friends. And we had such a blast in their home. I kind of left this stuff blank, but you know what? That's really okay. Like, it's not a big deal. Okay, and that is the second half of the week. Let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see. All right. And now I'm going to put this in my planner so we can see the whole thing together. Obviously, this looks very different from what I typically do, but that is because this format is very different from what I usually use. Sorry for my shaking camera. But anyway, this looks so cute. So this is the full weekly spread. It's a lot of chicken scratch, but you know what? That's okay. I'm just glad that I was able to get all of it down. And yes, thank you so much. Stay tuned for a continuation of my New York adventure in the next Plan With Me. Have a great one. Bye.